Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so I'm sitting inside for two reasons today. One is that I'm currently uploading videos on my phone right here. I just filmed 6 videos back to back. And the other reason is that I'm watching Boo Radley. He's actually walking around right now. He's eating his dinner and he's walking over here and he keeps on going over to me. But I'm watching him because we had another scare last night. So I'm just gonna get into this and get this out of the way before Alex gets home. And then when Alex gets home, he hasn't left work yet. He hasn't texted me that he's leaving work yet. He went into work a little bit late today because of last night. But when he comes home, if I haven't finished my vlog, then I'll go outside and I'll finish my vlog. But I just want to give an update on what's going on with Boo Radley. We were supposed to have marriage counseling tonight, and then after marriage counseling, I was going to go to the meeting with Tanya. But we canceled the therapy appointment, and then I also told Tanya, I talked to her today, and I was talking to her last night. I just was like, I'm exhausted, and I just need to relax, and so yeah, I'm not going to go tonight. So last night, it's been a lot. So last night, Alex gave Boo his medicine. I think it was like 8:30 he gave it to him. I feel like I've told this story like 10 times already today. To vet techs and the vet and people last night. I feel like I've told this story so many times. So I think Alex gave him his medicine last night at like 8:30. And he was fine. I mean, he was pacing a little bit. Like what he's doing right now, where he's kind of like, he just walked right by here. You want to come say hi to everybody, honey? No. I mean, it's like very slow walking. I wouldn't even call this pacing. I mean, he's always done this, where he just kind of like walks around and he goes up the stairs. And I mean, he was just like, I was sitting down here earlier and he's peeking down at me. So I was like, do you want to go potty outside? So we went outside. He walked around for the yard for a little bit. He's kind of slow right now because he had his medicine late today. So I think he's like still like tired and he's just kind of starting to wake up a little bit. But Alex gave him his medicine. So usually when we give him his medicine, it takes like an hour to really kind of like get the medicine to work. Like he paces or he does his laps, like Alex called them, and then like an hour and a half later, like the medicine kind of kicks in. I feel like every day for the last 2 weeks has been so completely different with Boo that there's no consistency to it whatsoever. Which is part of what I was talking to the vet about earlier today, but I feel like there's been no consistency. Like not any day has been exactly the same. Oh, he just went upstairs and now he's staring at me. No day has been completely the same. So that was at about 8:30. He was walking around down here. I was sitting here and I can't remember what I was watching last night. But I was sitting there watching something and I'm like trying to think. It doesn't matter what I was watching. I don't remember. But anyway, I was watching something and he was like walking around here and stuff like that. And I took him out and then he was walking around a little bit more and then he walked upstairs. So at like 10 o'clock, I was like, I'm going to lay down and take a nap for a little bit. So I went upstairs and we've been keeping the bedroom door open because like on the landing out there, we have another bed like on the ground where we can, I'm going to have to like upload these videos while I'm doing this. But on the landing, we have a, trying to see which video I want to upload next. Let's do this one. Okay. On the landing, we have the new bed that I bought him. And here he was earlier today. I was sending this picture to Alex. This is him sitting in his little purple bed today. I know you can't really see that. But anyway. So on the bed, we have the purple bed. And then we have pillows around the bed. And then we have the blue nightlight. And then on the landing, we keep the door open and he just like walks out there. He'll like look down the stairs a little bit. But on the landing, we have another bed, the gray bed that I bought with a blanket. We keep that on the landing and that's kind of like just become Boo's area now. And sometimes he sleeps on the landing and sometimes he sleeps on the purple bed and whatever. Well, I got ready to go lay down and I was like, and he got really like excited. Like he was up, like he was awake. And so I said, okay, do you want to go outside and go potty again? So I took him outside. And he was like running laps. I mean, like, I was like, oh my God, this dog is like, I mean, I was talking about the zoomies being back. I mean, this was like a 2-year-old puppy. I mean, he was zigzagging in the yard. I mean, he was like running. I mean, it was crazy running. Like, he was running down there and then he would like run past me. And I mean, he just looked like he was having so much fun. He did both of his potties and came inside and he ate a little bit of food. He seemed fine. He just seemed really like wide awake, but he seemed fine. So I went upstairs. He was eating his food. Kept the kitchen light on so we could see, and then about 10 minutes later he came upstairs. and got in the bed, and he was like on the bed, off the bed, on the bed, on the bed, off the bed, on the bed, off the bed, on the bed, and was like for 2 hours straight. So around, well, I guess it was more like an hour and a half. So around 11:30, Alex was like, I'm gonna go to bed. Oh, I didn't start even. Actually, you know what? Let's get this video up first because this video is gonna be longer. My TV video today is on monsters. I didn't honestly think I was gonna film any videos today, but Boo Radley finally fell asleep, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Just sit there and look at this dog sleeping? I was like, I need something to get off my mind. So I was like, I'm gonna film some videos. So I actually ended up filming videos on all of my channels. Okay, where is this at? Here it is, monsters. So, and I'm kind of right now, like, Caroline confirmed for tomorrow. I didn't know if she would be able to or not, but she confirmed for tomorrow. And I'm like kind of like waiting game right now to kind of see how he does tonight. So if I wake up tomorrow morning, he's fine, then I'll go with Caroline for an hour or two. But if not, then... So anyway, so I took him outside, ran around, he ate dinner, came back upstairs. So that was like 11:30. Alex was like, I'm getting ready to go to bed. And he's like, he seems more anxious tonight than he usually does. It wasn't just the pacing. It was like he was jumping on the bed. He was jumping off the bed. He was jumping on the bed. And he was like constant. And like he'd come over and he'd like sniff us. And then he'd walk to the end of the bed. I mean, it was like, it was pretty constant. Like it seemed like he was like, had slept for 3 days and was like, I'm awake now. So we kept on doing it. Alex fell asleep. And so I was just like laying there and I was like watching him, and he was just like going up and down the bed, like back to the end of the bed, look over it, come back, he'd sniff me. And I'm like, you know, he loves underneath her being scratched, and so he'd scratch him. Well, he jumped off the bed and he started running around the bed. And I was like, what's going on? And I was like, do you want to go outside? Do you want to go potty? So I opened the door, like, let's go outside. And he wouldn't go out the door, like the bedroom door. He just kept on running around the side of the bed. So I was like, Alex is gonna wake up. So I like picked him up to take him downstairs. Well, I picked him up, and when I picked him up, I like sat on the end of the bed to put my sandals on. And when I picked him up, he started like jerking. And I thought that he was like trying to get out of my hands. I mean, he was like wild. And I thought he was like trying to jerk to get out of my hands. And sometimes when we pick him up, like he'll try to like jump out of our arms, like if he's like really like playful and whatever. So I was like, is he just like real excited? Like, and so I looked down and he's like doing this. He's like, it's like he was like running in his sleep. It was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. And the only thing I could equate it to was I thought he was having a seizure, because Tucker had a seizure before he passed away, like 2 weeks before he passed away. But it looked completely different. And I was like, what is going on? And so I go, Alex. And so Alex woke up, and I was like, had Alexa turn the lights on, and, or, you know, whatever. So lights come on, and like, he's still doing this. He's like, it looked, I don't know what it looked like. I don't really even know how to explain it to anybody. It looked like he was like running like 100 miles an hour. And his head was kind of like back like this. But when I said something to Alex, like he's having a seizure, Alex goes, he's not having a seizure. He goes, I don't know what's going on. And so Alex was like, boo. And he kept on like saying his name. I mean, we were like both like panicked. And he goes, boo. He was like, boo, boo, boo. And like all of a sudden, like Boo just kind of like looked at him and was like, and then he just like jumped out of my arms. And then he was like manically running around the room, in the bathroom, in and out of the bath. I mean, we could not even hold this dog. And Alex is like, I don't know what to do. And like, Alex is crying and I'm crying. And we're like, what is going on? Like, this was not the Zoomies. This was literally like somebody shot my dog up with crystal methamphetamine. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, that's how I've explained it to everybody I've talked to. I mean, it was like, I don't even know what happened. And so anyway, we were like, what is going on? We have no idea what's going on. So, and he had like ran around earlier and had a lot of energy. So anyway, Alex is like holding him and he's like jerking out, and then he'll let him run for a little bit and he's holding him. He goes, should we take him to the emergency vet? I go, let me call the vet first and see if I can get our vet on, because she's got like 24-hour call and stuff like that. So I get a hold of the vet and they're like, we're gonna have somebody call you back. And I said, can you have our vet call us back? And he was like, she can't tonight, but we can get somebody from I was like, whoever, just let us get somebody that has the records in front of them, that whatever. So they got somebody back from another vet, called us back, and she's like, what's going on? Very, very nice. So she had all the information in front of her. So she was like, okay, I don't see this as being like a reaction to his medicine. She was like, the timing of the medicine, it's weird that it happened so many hours later. She was like, has he slept a lot today? I mean, I said, he slept off and on, but like, I mean, it's just, you know, I said, there's just no rhyme or reason to it. And so I had her on the phone, and I was down here, and she said, I think that you guys need to just wait till tomorrow and bring him in here. I said, I don't know that we can wait. I said, I'm like worried my dog's gonna have a heart attack. And she could hear him. And then Boo started yelping. He did this twice. He like yelped. He was like, and he never does that at night. And she said, is that him? And I said, yeah. And you could hear him upstairs, like, running around. And Alex is, like, calling him because Alex is trying to catch him, but then he jumps out. I mean, it was mania. It was absolute mania. And I said, I don't know what to do. Like, we're thinking about taking him to the emergency vet. She goes, take him to the emergency vet, and I will call ahead and make sure that they're ready for you. And I was like, okay. So at that point, Alex was like, oh, no. Before all that, Alex was like, do you think we should give him a half of trazodone? Because the vet has given us trazodone. And we give him a half at night, half in the morning before he has to have, like, testing done because he gets very anxious. I mean, Boo's a very anxious dog anyway. So we give him a half of trazodone, like, 20 minutes, like, into this thing. So he was kind of settling down a little bit, and so we got him on his leash. Alex drove to the emergency vet. I mean, we're both, like, panicked. Alex is crying. He's like, I mean, we're both like, this is the second time in 2 weeks we've had to go to the emergency vet, and now this is like, we have to go to the, we're talking to the vet. I mean, it's like every day. Like, this is not good. Like, this is like end stage with dog stuff. Although he doesn't seem like that. I mean, last night was like, I don't know, it was weird. So anyway, so we get to the emergency vet. They've called ahead, told everything that's going on, blood work, all that stuff. Like, they've given all the records. So we go in. And they take his vitals, and his blood pressure is like through the roof. His heart rate's high, but they said that they thought his heart rate was high just because he was like nervous or whatever he was coming in there. But his blood pressure was like through the roof. So they gave him some medicine to like lower his blood pressure, but they didn't want us to send him home with it because they didn't want him to like bottom out, which is like, that had happened with me with the blood pressure medicine. Because they didn't know if like the blood pressure was like a reaction to it. And so the vet like sat with him actually for a long time last night, like without us. She like sat in the back with him and like watched him, and she was like, because we were like explaining it to him and to her, and I said, it looked like a seizure. His littermate brother had a seizure, and so she was like, his littermate, and I said he passed away, and like he had a tumor behind his spleen, and so Alex was explaining things, and he's like, but he goes, Alex is like, it didn't look like that. When Tucker had a seizure, I mean, I could tell, his body like extended and went out. I could tell it was a seizure, and then like he pooped and like wet himself afterwards, and then he was super lethargic and confused. Boo Radley was confused like the first 2 seconds, and then he was like on it. Like, I mean, it was manic. And so the vet was like, we don't really see a lot of that. I've never really seen that before. She was like, and she goes, the two things I'm thinking is like a seizure or a stroke. She was like, but neither of those does a dog react manically typically afterwards. She's like, I'm just wondering if like he is in so much pain, whatever. And she's like, if the medicine just wasn't working that night. Well, we had gone down from because our vet had instructed us to go down like from the 3 times a day with a muscle relaxer to 2 times a day. So she was like, well, that could be it. He could be in more pain tonight because you guys told the vet that he was doing better and blah, 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 whatever. And she knows our vet. And so she was telling us all this kind of stuff. And she's like, to be honest with you, I'm really afraid to let him go with his blood pressure this high. So we had to sit there. So we were there last night. I think we got there at like 12:15 or 12:30, and we were there till like 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, Alex was falling asleep. I felt so bad for him. He's like crying. They put us in a room. So at first we were sitting out there. We actually, weirdly enough, ran into a friend of ours that she was there with her dog last night. And so they finally put us into a room, but then that was when she came in and she was like, because I said, can we see him? And she was like, I don't really want to bring him out right now because I don't want him to get excited again. She's like, I kind of want to observe him for a little bit. And so she had him in the back. And so she had him like in this large like crate, and then she brought him out and she was like observing him. And she was like, I can't really tell if this is just him. She goes, it kind of, because like with strokes, apparently they like, it's neurological. They like walk around in a circle one way and they kind of lean their head. She goes, it kind of seems like he's doing that to me. She goes, but I can't really tell. You guys would have to be able to tell me that. She's like, but I want to still observe him. So they gave him the blood pressure medicine. His blood pressure medicine his blood pressure went way down from the medicine. So he was fine with all that. His heart rate was fine. His heart rate was back to normal. So she observed him for like an hour and a half. And then she came back in and she talked to us, and she's like, you know, we have a couple different options of things we can do. She was like, we can hospitalize him overnight if you guys are really worried. She's like, but I wouldn't probably do that. She was like, you know, your vet already knows about this, so they're going to contact you in the morning. And she was like, he seems fine now. She's like, I don't even know. She's like, this is the thing. And she was like, and I'm sure your vet has told you this. And our vet kind of did tell us this on so many levels. She was like, older dogs, senior dogs, start having a lot of stuff. She's like, you're going to have to make a decision whether this is kind of just the new normal for you. She's like, in all honesty, she was like, this is kind of the stage where a lot of people put their dogs down. And I was like, we're not doing that. She's like, I'm not telling you to do that. She's like, but this is where it becomes like, you have to create a new normal for your dog of like different sleep schedules. You know, she was like, I would probably recommend like figuring out like how the sleeping when he's going to pace, because he's going to probably be pacing late at night. And she's like, and said something about dog dementia. And she was like, I mean, we still don't know that much about it. She was like, so it could be dog dementia. It could be that he's an older dog. She's like, it could be that he's in pain. And so he's walking to like, because he can't get comfortable. She's like, we don't know because dogs don't talk to us. She was really, really nice. And so she was like, you know, I don't really know what to tell you. She goes, I know his blood pressure is fine. She goes, it could be neurological. She goes, but if I bring him in here, she goes, and you guys think that this is normal? She said, then I don't think it's neurological. She goes, maybe this is just how he always like, because Boo circles. I mean, he walks in circles. Not like, when we talked to our vet, she was like, no, they're going to like circle in like a small circle if it's neurological. But like Boo walks in circles around the house. But she's like, no, I'm not talking about that. She's like, I'm talking about like in a circle. Like they kind of lean their head to one side if they've had a stroke or they have neurological issues or they have like a brain tumor or whatever. And she said, it could be that. She said, and we can order that if you want. She goes, but I would rather you check with your doctor first that knows the dog. And she said, then if she thinks that he needs to have neurological testing done, then you'll have to take him to a dog neurologist and all this kind of stuff. And so, which apparently is like, that whole process of getting him sedated to do that and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're like, at this point, we don't know what's going on. So she's like, well, I'm going to bring him in here in just a little bit. So she brings him in. Boo Riley just comes on in, trots all in, right? Like totally everything's normal. Like looks up at us like, what's going on, dads? And so Alex is like bawling. And Alex, because he thinks, you know, here it is again. We're here. So we're going to have to put the dog down. I mean, we're going through the whole, all of it again. I mean, this was, when I tell you that this dog was manic, I don't even know how to like explain it. Like when I was talking to Tanya last night, I was like, Tanya, I've never seen anything like this before. Have you ever seen anything like this at your kennel? She's like, I've never, like what you're talking. She's like, he was running. I go, it was like, he was crazed. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like he was crazed. So he just trots into the room. And so she's watching him. And I like called him over and he came over to me and like I rubbed under his chin. And then he went over to Alex and was like looking up and Alex was patting him because she wanted him to stay on the floor. And so he was like walking around. He was sniffing the corners and he walked back the other way. She's like, he's not circling. She's like, it could be neurological. And that might have been why the event happened. She's like, but if it's neurological, we're not going to know without testing. And she's like, and I think I need to consult with your vet first before that happens. So we're like, okay. So then she was like, so she was talking to us about the blood pressure medicine and why she didn't want to send it home with us because if we kept him on it and he didn't need it, then it could bottom him out and that could cause more problems. And he's already on these medications. She was really, really sweet. So anyway, so Alex picks him up and literally like 2 minutes later, he falls asleep. And she said it was probably because of the blood pressure medicine because it would help him like calm down. Because we asked her, we said, should we give him another Trazodone so he can sleep? She's like, no, he doesn't need anything else in his system. She was like, wait. She's like, wait until, she's like, what time do you guys usually give him his medicine in the morning? And Alex was like between 7 and 7:30. She's like, well, I would wait until like between like 10 and noon. She was like, because let's just, whatever's going on with the system, let's like clear it out. By then you can talk to your vet and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. So we get home last night. I take him outside. Walks around the yard, potties. I mean, he's slow. He's tired. He's like really, I mean, we thought we were going to bring him upstairs and he was going to fall asleep like that. So we bring him inside the house. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. I totally forgot that I was doing this video. So we bring him inside and, like Alex is like making his bed, getting his bed ready for him, both beds. And I honest to God, I thought like, we got him upstairs and I thought he was just going to go to sleep like that. I thought this dog is just going to fall asleep. I mean, he's had such a night. And he was pacing from like 8:30 until whenever we went to the vet. I mean, I thought this dog is going to pass out and go to sleep. So Alex goes to sleep and he's like on the bed. So I come down here and I'm like, I talk to Tanya and everybody. I'm texting Nikki, you know, and I'm like all stressed out about all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, I've got to watch a show to calm down. So I pull out my iPad and stuff, and I'm sitting over here, and I'm like, I'm going to watch Only Murders in the Building, because it was out by then. So I sat down, and I was watching Only Murders in the Building, having a cup of herbal tea to kind of like settle my nerves a little bit, and all of a sudden, because I had the kitchen light on in case he was wanting to eat, all of a sudden, I can see his shadow, and I'm like, that dog is awake. And so I go in the kitchen, and he just kind of looks up at me, and then he walked over to the door, and I was like, okay, do you want to go outside? Do you want to go potty? And he was like, got excited. He always gets kind of excited when I say that, and like kind of wiggles. And so I took him outside again. He didn't want to be outside that long. He just like peed, and then he came back inside, and then he was like eating his food in the kitchen. I mean, like, this is totally normal dog, right? Okay, he paced from whatever time that was until like 7 o'clock this morning. Literally paced. I finally I put a blanket down here, because I was like, I'm just going to stay downstairs with him. Alex has to have some sleep. Alex couldn't take the day off. Alex had to go to work. So I was like, I'll just stay up with him. So I put a blanket down by the end of the stairs over there. Somebody sent us a Scentsy blanket or whatever. It's real soft, and he likes it. So I put it over there. About 2 hours in, he finally sat down, but he was sitting down like this, like looking all around. So finally, when Alex was getting ready for work, when Alex got up, I went upstairs and I took him up there. And at that point, he laid on the end of the bed, but he was like, looked like this. When I finally fell asleep, which was about 15 or 20 minutes later, the last thing I knew, he was like to the side, laying down. So I texted Alex this morning. I said, when I got up, I said, how was he? And he said, I said, how was he? Because I like got up and then like put in a phone call to the vet and had my phone on and stuff like that. He said he was dead asleep when I left work this morning. Like, he was out. Well, I got up this morning at like, I think it was like 9:15 or 9:30 or something. I mean, I'm going literally right now in like 2-3 hours of sleep. Not even that. And he's standing on the floor looking at me. And I'm like, what is going on? And he's like pacing again, like real, not fast, but real slow. Well, then I figure out he hasn't had his medicine. So I talked to the vet then, and then the vet was like, well, I talked to the vet technician about giving the meds, and she was like, she's going to call you back. She was like, but she said you can give him, you know, the meds or whatever. So took him outside again, got him his meds, and like he always paces for like an hour after he's had his meds, his gabapentin and stuff like that. Who just texted me? Alex just texted me that he's leaving the office. So, where am I at on time? So, so she said, the vet's going to call you back, and your vet's going to call you back in just a little bit. She's like, but she said that you can give him this medicine now. So I gave him the medicine or whatever. So, took him outside, did that, took him outside and all that kind of stuff, got him inside. He's pacing again. Alex and I are texting each other. I'm like giving him like, minute by minute updates of what's going on. We're so worried. And I'm like, this dog has now slept as little as I have. You know, like, I mean, this little dog cannot continue to go on like no sleep whatsoever. So I'm sitting on the end of the bed. I made the bed upstairs so I want to make it like real comfortable for him if he wanted to sleep and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys think about your dogs that way. So I'm sitting there, and he like walks out in the hallway, and I see him turn right, and I'm like, okay, he's going into the bed on the landing. So I waited like 5 minutes, and I'm just kind of like sitting there. I'm like rolling through my phone and stuff like that, and I get out, and he is out. I mean, asleep in his bed. So I thought, well, let's wait 5 or 10 minutes and see. 10 minutes later, he's out. Like, I didn't want to disturb him. Like, I mean, he was so out, his head was hanging off the side of the bed. And I was like, I don't want to disturb him, because if I disturb him and he wakes up, I don't want to, like, get him agitated again, right? And so, let me text Alex back, okay, really quick. So at that point, I was like, okay, finally, at least he's getting some sleep. Well, the vet called right after that. So she's like looked all over his records from last night, the vitals they took. She's like, his blood work just came back normal. His stool sample came back normal. She was like, I saw him in here a week and a half ago. She was like, he's completely fine. You've now taken the emergency vet 2 times. She was like, I talked to the vet. She was like, I don't know if it's neurological. We would have to do like neurological testing on it. She was like, I don't know that I really want to order that right now. And I was like, do you think that we need to bring him in there? She's like, you just took him to the emergency vet last night. She's like, I trust the vet that you talked to. She's like, I know her. She's like, I don't think that you need to bring him in right now. And I was like, well, what do you think that he needs? And she goes, I think that you guys are going to have to decide whether or not this is going to be your, like, new normal, which is basically the same kind of thing that she said to me. She goes, I think, Peter, you're just really dealing with an older dog. She goes, I have no clue what happened last night. She goes, it may never happen again, or it may start being a regular thing, and then we're going to have to do neurological testing. She goes, that's probably what I would think. She said, but she said right now, she was like, I mean, you've taken him to the emergency vet twice. I've seen him a couple times. She was like, he's had all the tests done that needs to be done. His blood tests are coming back normal. His stool sample's coming back normal. His vitals are normal after he settled down last night. She's like, I don't know that he just wasn't completely agitated from the pain. She's like, maybe the pain is still like radiating through his body. She's like, I don't know. She's like, but I think that we need to give this a couple more days. And she's like, kind of see how things are doing. I mean, it's been like the eye and all this kind of stuff, you know? And so his eye is so much better now. So I said, so you don't think that we need to bring him in there? She's like, I mean, if you want to bring him in here for me to look at him, she's like, I can. She was like, that's going to be the same thing that the vet told you last night. And she's like, and I know her and I trust her. And she was like, if she said that you need to just go home, she's like, and then talk to me on the phone, she's like, has he changed at all? I go, no, he's asleep. He paced. I told her everything that happened. And she was like, so he's sleeping now? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, that's a really good sign. She's like, if you're telling me 24 to 48 hours of manic behavior, then I would say, yeah, we need to hospitalize the dog. She said, but if he's actually sleeping now? And I go, well, I just gave him his medicine like 40 minutes ago. She goes, so the medicine kicked in? And I said, yeah. And so she was like, she goes, this is so bizarre to me. She's like, I have no idea what's going on with this. And I said, well, every day, I mean, we talked about so many different things. I mean, she gave me a lot of time. I was like, every day is completely different. She goes, what you're explaining to me is a conversation I have on a regular basis with people that have senior dogs. And she's like, and the decision that people have to make is like, are you going to put your dog down? And she's like, a lot of people do that because they just can't keep up with it. Or is this just going to be your new normal and you and Alex are just going to figure out your new normal? She's like, but the reality is you cannot run to the emergency vet every single time that the dog freaks out. She was like, because you can't afford it, number one. And she said, and number two, they're not going to be able to give you any answers. And she said, I mean, if you want to have a standing appointment with me once a week, we can do that. She was like, but I don't even know that that's necessary. She goes, I think you're just dealing with a lot of senior dog stuff, and you're just going to have to, like, you guys are going to have to figure out what that's going to look like for you. And she's like, if you want to come in here for an appointment, and she said, I can walk you through what I would do. She's like, because she has senior dogs. And she's like, what, I would do to prepare the home? And she's like, because he's 15. She was like, he could live another, 6 days or 6 years. She's like, you don't know with a senior dog. And she said, you're going to have moments that you're going to freak out and you're going to think it's the last day. She goes, and then you're going to have moments where you're going to think everything's back to normal. She said, that's having a senior dog. She said, and if you want to come in here and I can check him out, I can do that. She goes, but I don't think that that's necessary. She was very, very sweet. So anyway, she wants us to keep an eye on him over the next couple days and just see how he is. She said, I want you to be like the very regimented with the medicine. Don't stop with the muscle relaxer. Because before she was like, I think it's fine to go down to 2 days or 2 times a day. She's like, no, let's keep up with the 3 times a day. She's like, maybe he's in more pain than we thought he was. She's like, older dogs take longer to repair. She was like, so let's just keep up with that. She's like, I want to hear by you by the end of the week and see how he's doing. She's like, if something would happen tonight and it's another incident like last night, she said, call the office. She's like, I want to know if there's 2 manic episodes in a row. She's like, but let's hope that he sleeps through the night and gets through the night. I was like, okay. Then we talked about, she was like, how are you guys doing? Because Alex is not doing well. Alex is just like, he's like, on top of like not getting any sleep and then having to work all day long, like the emotional stress of like, he's still grieving Tucker and Pee-Pee, as am I, but like we grieve in different ways. And just sitting there last night at the vet again, like I could see it on my husband's face. It's just hard, it's really, really hard. I don't know, like Tanya and I were talking about it today and I said, I just don't even understand. Like, I think it's a personal decision what anybody does, but I would never he still seems happy. Like today I took him outside. He was like walking around. He was like sniffing stuff. He was looking up at the air. Like, no, like, if we have to inconvenience our lives, and Alex and I actually talked about that on the way home last night. He's like, what do? Do you want to we can maybe get like a larger crate. Like the one in the basement is too big for a bedroom, but we could get a crate for him just to sleep in that we could leave the door open in the bedroom. He felt very safe in that crate. So we're thinking about doing that. And like, then he'll just like have his little area where he sleeps in our bedroom every night in a crate. And if we close it, if he's getting very anxious, then he can just like, cause he calms down. Because the vet last night said, when we put him back in the crate, back in the room, he like settled way down. So we might do that. We're going to see how tomorrow night goes. Cause the other thing the vet said to me on the phone is, she goes, Peter, this could completely be, she was like, this came out of the blue. Like he hurt himself and this has all been a result of him hurting himself. I mean, last night, he was literally doing backflips to try to get on. I mean, it was crazy, you guys. Like, literally from the floor, he was, like, jumping, trying to jump on the bed. I mean, I was like, it was unbelievable. I was trying to explain this to her today. The people at the emergency vet last night, they're like, he's just such a sweet little old man and all this kind of stuff with his little tongue out. And, but on the way home, Alex and I were talking last night about, like, we're just going to have to, I mean, arrange things. I mean, fortunately, I stay up all night long, so I can be up with the dog. Usually, he kind of falls asleep around the time that, like, I come to bed. He usually, like, he'll stay up a little bit longer than that if he's pacing and stuff like that, but usually kind of wears himself out. And that's one of the things the vet said to me today. She was like, he's going to wear himself out if he keeps on pacing to the point where he's, like, so tired that he'll eventually sleep. She's like, but here's the other... The battery stopped. She said, here's the other thing. She said, you're talking about a dog that, hold on a second, let me get the next one going. That, like I was saying, had this injury that we don't even know what the injury is from, and he's probably in pain, and it's just taking him longer to heal because he probably really hurt himself somehow. And she was like, still hurt himself somehow. Look at this little guy sitting in the bed today. Well, hi, Boo Radley. With his little head up and his little tongue out. Look at that little sweet guy. She's like, you know, I mean, it just might be taking him a longer time than it usually takes for him to heal. She's like, all of this reaction that we're seeing, the manic running around outside or inside the bedroom, or him not being able to sleep, or the pacing, or him sleeping for long hours and being up for long hours. She goes, this might just all be a reaction to the pain. She goes, so I don't want to freak out. And she was like, order a bunch of neurological tests, or say that he had a stroke. Or she goes, it might not be any of that. She goes, dogs act in weird ways when they're in pain. She goes, I think he's really just in pain. She goes, so we're going to keep up with the regimen that we're doing. And she said, and you and Alex are going to take care of each other because you guys need to do that because you freak out about everything about your dogs, which we do. And she's like, Peter, I totally understand. She's like, if I was the same situation, I would have been at the emergency vet last night too. She's like, you guys are good dog dads. She goes, you care a lot. She goes, you guys are constantly, you know, like calling us and taking care of us. She's like, but this is also part of having an older dog. And I think, like, that's part of it for me. Like, I think I just thought that Boo Radley would just kind of, like, over time slow down. And then one night, you know, and I said something similar to this. And she goes, well, that might be the case. She's like, he might heal from this and be completely back to the dog that you had. And then in the next couple years, just one day you wake up and it's like, he's not doing great anymore because he's an older dog. She goes, that may be the way that this dog goes. She was like, but we don't know right now because dogs can't talk to us, which pisses me off. I hate that dogs can't talk to us. It's like, what if I had 3 wishes? You know, people wish for, like, all the money in the world. I wish for dogs to talk to us. If I had one wish, that's what I would wish. Truly, I would. If animals could talk to us, I think not only could they tell us if they were pain or what they're feeling. Now I'm getting pissed off about dogs not being able to talk to us. But not only could they tell us if they were in pain or what was going on, but I think that we could just learn a lot more about the world from animals' points of view, don't you think? How to treat one another, how to be nice to one another. So... she was really, really sweet. She goes, you know, the vet told me last night, or she said, the vet that you saw last night told me, she said that when you guys came in here, that he was pretty, like, off the charts, his vitals and stuff. She goes, I understand why you guys were scared last night. She goes, but let's evaluate him where he's at right now. And I said, he's asleep upstairs. And she goes, then that's where we're going to evaluate him right now. She was like, if he was still manic and we were talking about 24 to 48 hours of mania, she goes, I've seen a few dogs like that. And I was like, what does it come from? And she's like, well, chocolate or something like that. She's like, but even then, they usually poop it out or vomit it. She goes, I said, we don't even have that kind of, I mean, he doesn't eat his own food, let alone human food. She goes, was he eating? I go, well, yeah, a little bit here and there. Today's getting his, she goes, well, that's a good sign. She goes, if dogs are eating, they're peeing, they're going outside. She's like, they're going to their normal stuff. She's like, he's in pain, Peter. So that's what we're dealing with. So please put some prayers out there for little Boo Radley if you can, and that he heals quickly and that he gets a good night's sleep tonight. And the other thing is that I'm so happy that he's like he was down here eating a little bit ago before when I started the vlog, and then he went upstairs. He must be asleep on the landing because he just was peeking down at me just a little while ago, and now he's silent up there. So you don't hear him walking on the wood floor, so he must be asleep. We're going to have to, like, get him up, like, every hour and take him outside and kind of keep him up so that at night he's, like, a lot more tired. Like, that's one of the things. But I don't know that it would make a difference because, like, last night we came home from the vet, I mean, he had been through it, you know, and he still couldn't fall asleep. I mean, that little guy literally, like, walked circles around here until he finally laid down that blanket in front of there. So that's where we're at today. That's what's going on with us. I was like, is that my husband coming home? But it's the air conditioner. So that is where we're at today. And I already know that you guys are going to say a bunch of really sweet things in the comment section below. So let me just thank you in advance. I'm stressed out about this dog. I'm so stressed out. I love this little dog with all of my heart. And to not be able to take pain away from him and not understand what's going on top of like having very, very little sleep and being stressed out. So I'll be honest with you, I was really grateful today. I mean, he fell asleep. I was like, I wasn't going to film any videos. I kind of at that time decided that when Alex got home, I was going to film my vlog because we had already canceled our appointments, and I canceled with Tanya at that point. If I had known that he was doing this good, I wouldn't have canceled the meeting. I would have gone to the meeting with Tanya and had Alex stay at home. Well, he would have been here anyway, so I would have just taken, because usually after the therapy appointments, Alex will drop me off at Tanya's and we go to a meeting. That's what the plan was tonight. But I would have had just Alex come home, and then I would have taken an Uber over to Tanya's. But I'm exhausted now, so if I knew that he was going to be doing better like he's doing. You guys are always so loving and kind, and I really appreciate it. And I want to say one thing that really helps me, and I don't ever feel like you have to share a comment like this, but I've gotten some DMs from people that didn't feel comfortable sharing the comment, or they emailed me. But the personal stories that you guys have shared with me about you guys having older dogs or things that your dogs have gone through, or you'd be like, oh, Peter, I went through something very similar, and I would say especially the stories. When I was sharing about Boo, so many people shared with me that they had just recently, like, their dogs had passed, or they had had their cats put away or something like that. And I just want to say, I'm so sorry. I say this a lot, like my other videos. I don't think we talk about the loss of a pet enough. I think it's one of the hardest pieces of grieving. I don't think we talk about aging pets. Now that I feel like everything I'm going through is a learning experience, you know? And to in those moments, you guys feel like you can share those stories with me. It really feels, it's very nice that you guys do that. And so many of your stories like really helped me in the moment when I was like reading them, where you'd say, oh, we went through something very similar, or I have a senior. I mean, so many people have shared with me that they had senior dogs and they thought they were gonna, like, it was like they were on death's door, and it was like 4 years later they're still alive, and they just had to make adjustments. And it's just like we had to get like night lights around the house like we did, and, you know, like change the bedding and change this, and that they would have accidents inside the house. Because that was the one thing the vet, she asked last night, and our vet asked, is he having accidents inside the house? And I was like, no, not at all. There's like certain questions they ask when it has like stroke or like neurological issues, and one of them is they start forgetting to like go potty outside, and he runs to the door when he wants to go potty still to this day. I mean, like, he remembers us. I don't know. She's like, I just think it's pain. So anyway, I just want to say, for you guys that have been sharing those stories with me, I just really, really greatly appreciate it. It's helped me more than I think you will ever know, and I really, really appreciate it. And one of the reasons why I am talking so much about it is that with Pee-Pee, I just didn't feel, I don't know if I felt comfortable sharing a lot of that at that time, and it was like the first time going through that, you know? And with Tucker, I wasn't online when that happened, because it was after the accident and I wasn't filming. And this is my life today, and this is Alex and I's life today, and this is what we're going through, and I'm very, very worried about this little guy, you know? I realize these are the things that, you know, really, really matter in the end, and I know that. And so, but today, and this is where I am really thankful for you guys, in like a silly kind of way, when he was sleeping in the hallway, and I knew he was sleeping out there, I was like, I can film some videos. And so I would film a video. I mean, I could hear he's like 10 feet behind me if he got up, right? And so I would film a video, and then I would get up and check, and he'd still be passed out in his bed. And so it like got my mind away from things. You know, like tonight I want to watch some TV shows. I've got to read these true crime books because I haven't even started them yet, and our book club is on Sunday. Depending on how the stuff with Boo goes, if he improves greatly, then we'll still do the book club on Sunday. If he doesn't, then I can't get to it. It's going to be more about me getting to these books. So we'll see how he does tonight, but I'm gonna try to listen to some of the books tonight and get going on all that. But I'm sure we'll still have the live stream on Sunday, unless, you know, I don't want to borrow trouble, so we won't go there. But being able to film videos, I love that I'm able to do that, and I love that it's like this escape for me, and that I get to do something fun and get my mind off things. So I just want to say I really appreciate that. And I can hear my husband coming in the garage. He just pulled into the garage. So I'm going to get off here now. Thank you guys for listening to me. I just wanted to give you an update on Boo. You guys are just so loving and kind, and I appreciate it so much. And it really means a lot to me. And so I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Tuesday. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you.